Hey everyone, welcome back to the Travelling Teachers series. Did you know that First Leap not only has brick and mortar schools in China, but they also have an online platform now where you can teach as a native speaker anywhere in the world? No, I hadn't either before I met today's guest, Nenad. So thanks for joining me today, Nenad.
It's great to be here and speaking to you, Ollie.
In today's episode, Nenad is going to tell us all about First Leap. And if you're interested in knowing more information or getting in contact with Nenad to apply to First Leap, I'll leave his LinkedIn down in the description, and you can also find his referral code. So if you're interested in applying, I always recommend people use a referral code to get employed with one of these online schools. So without further ado, let's learn more about First Leap and why it might be the right online school for you. The reason I got you on today was to talk about a company you're actually working for, First Leap.
Well, yeah, I came across them. I think it was either toward the end of last year or the beginning of this year. They're a company based out of China, and they have their own schools. But this online program was something that I think has been launched quite recently. So the online school system is basically functioning as a sort of extracurricular, working with native English speakers and getting the children really focusing on the English speaking skills, their interaction. And I think that's how the program is actually based around, because some of the material they've already been through in their own classes. And then, you know, it's a kind of mix and match that they've done, which I kind of see that is having good effects. And I've also seen the kids, some more so than others, really kind of recognize the teaching material when you're teaching them in the lessons.
Yeah, that's a really important point, because when I typed in First Leap into Google, it came up with the brick and mortar schools in China, and it's a massive company, like fully like super developed things like that. I was quite shocked, and then to know that they had an online version, and it makes sense if they're like complementing the material. How can like someone go about getting a job there? Like what like qualifications do they need? Do they need to be, because I know Chinese companies are quite strict on, you know, being a native speaker or having a native passport, right?
Well, yeah. So as I mentioned, I'm a native English speaker, but I mean, it's from what I recall, it's basically the same standardized issue as everything else. So being a native speaker, having your TEFL or TESOL, whatever, one of those English speaking certificates, and having a bachelor's degree, pretty much going through the basic details, taking a video of your self-intro video, and then it starts off like anything else, going through the interview process, doing a demo with an instructor. I applied back in February. Everything has been smooth since.
I know you've worked for a few companies. I think you've worked for CBC. Why did you choose First Leap over, you know, other well-known companies like in the teaching online industry, I guess? I mean, it seems like it's a well-known company, like as a brick and mortar, you know.
Well, I started off in Puxin. I was working there for about 6 to 7 months, but then they made a switch, going from one-on-one lessons to 1-on-20 lesson. And I still haven't got my head around how I can do that via web camera. That to me is still absurd. So I never got involved on that side. I took a few months off, came back and started working for CBC, which was a great company. The platform I loved, the materials I loved. It was truly great. But then I think even since I started, everything kind of started going down slowly in some way.
Yeah.
And I took a while off. And when I decided to get back into it, I was looking. There was Wales, English. There was I think Zebra Kid, and I'd actually applied to VIP Kid, but as soon as I passed the interview, they put a hold because I think they'd had hired too many teachers.
Classic.
And so in my search for the next company, I came across First Leap, applied to them, got through, and yeah, it's been great just to have a new experience. None of the 3 schools that I've worked for previously contain the same parameters. So each school can be compared to each other, but they're also so vastly different that it's kind of great to see, because it doesn't really make all ESL schools, let's say, equal or the same. But there's so much dynamic involved that each company offers kind of its own unique approach and selling point, which I find amazing. So, like I said, even though that it may seem that every day is the same, no 2 days are ever the same in any school. So that's why I love doing this.
Yeah, it's good. I feel like I've worked for CBC and Wales English, and I feel like if I could take some of CBC and some of Wales and put it together, it'd be like the perfect company. But you can't please everyone. So. That whilst people think that all the Chinese companies offer the same sort of service, it's true. But like, there's also a difference in like your communication and things like that. So I think I'm going to get onto communication in a second, but I kind of want to know about like class sizes, because you said 1 to 20 with that other place. Surely this one, First Leap, is not 1 to 20.
The class sizes at First Leap go from us pretty much standardized 1 to 4. However, there's always the opportunity that a student that missed a lesson can catch up in another lesson. So you might be looking at, let's say, 1 on 5. So there's always that kind of dynamic that you don't know what you're exactly going to get. But as long as you're flexible and adaptable, it's not going to really affect you in any, vast way.
Yeah.
The lessons are 45 minutes, which is the longest that I've done. But I've also found that complemented with the material, it's sufficient. Maybe at times not. Maybe at times I'd say like having 30 more minutes would be sufficient. But the material is created in such a way that it really requires that you kind of go through it and really pace yourself, because you can get stuck on one point too much, get taken aback with the kids. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and then you'll be stuck off that at the speaking session, which should last for 20 minutes. Right. You're kind of there with the 7 minutes toward the end of the lesson and starting to panic.
So like with CBC, like they had a platform that you could drag people onto the screen and it would mute the other people. But with Wales English, you can't. Like you have to like mute them, and it's not as interactive. Like, is the platform? Have they created their own platform, and can you like move people around and move the students up and down?
Well, that was the first time I learned about it. I've been using this platform called We Classroom.
Oh, okay, yep.
And you've got all the capabilities. Mm-hmm. Dragging down, muting everyone, giving everyone the pen, which I love, because back in CBC, as soon as you move them down, they'd get all the capabilities. Here, they still don't have anything. They're just down, and you can manipulate the little screen. Power. I love the thing here is that you can annotate and make it so much more interactive. You've got your squares, your circles, your lines, your arrows, your text boxes. You've got we got the eraser. So pretty much you can also move everything. As long as you make a text, you can move that text. So making an annotation slightly resembling some sort of a PowerPoint is good, because then you can put everything on screen and make it more visualizing for the kids.
Yeah.
On top of that, you can add your own pictures. And the thing that I've loved the most is that you've got games. You've got an interactive dice. You have some other interactive games. You can create like a little test or true or false answers. Mm-hmm. So you can really get them involved and engaged with and we have this kind of red packets game. I don't know. There's this thing that kind of gives them points, and whenever they kind of seem a bit dull or bored, I just let them play this, and it's like you've given them the key to their own Marvel comic movie, and they're in this whole new dynamic and completely loving to learn English again. So it's the games really do help out when it comes to engaging them and motivating them.
Yeah, I think games are so important. Like, they change everything. Like, I think that's one thing that I struggled with Wales English. Like, you have to kind of like invent your games through the material rather than like games being, given but like the kids love the game. So that's awesome. Planning and marking of homework, giving feedback.
The planning comes in to do with prepping the material. So let's say you want to go through the material beforehand, you want to know how the slides are like, so just so that you can make sure that you have a smooth flowing delivery of the material and the class itself, because you don't want to get stuck on oh wow, what do I do here, let me just waste 5 minutes, and then that's kind of the backdraw. So it's as long as you go in and you can pretty much just go run through it quickly, you're fine. So it doesn't take you more than 20 minutes to 30 minutes to just assess all your prior lesson plans. So I think it's pretty straightforward. When it comes to homework or giving feedback, we don't have any, which is
so
again the first time that I've encountered this, and I have to admit I love this. Probably one of the top things, I'd have to say. But yeah, there's no feedback, so you don't really have to give them. Although I try to give as much feedback as I can during the lesson.
Sure.
But writing everything afterwards, it's we don't have that. So
it's quite nice. What about like this is slightly not off topic, but like do you get like assessed by the staff in China? Because like in Wales English, you're being assessed like all the time. So there's someone watching a lesson.
Yeah, that's a good question. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, because I remember I remember back in CABC we had parent feedback, and but we never got assessed by the actual company itself, as far as I can remember. Whereas here, so you've got a monthly QA where they'll spontaneously take one of your lessons and run through it, and then they'll give you the feedback based on your delivery. And it's based on criteria: how engaging you were, what your energy was like, your error correction, your background, prop usage, delivery of instructions. And I think they're trying to, it's not that it's supposed to be literally that, they can't assess all of your lessons. So even if you do get some bad feedback, it's important not to take it on a personal note, because again, they have taken one lesson out of the, let's say, 100 that you've done across the month. So it's just there to keep a lookout. Okay, out of all the lessons, one I didn't do my best in. So it's kind of, it gives you a reference to look back at it. And the good thing with, I would say as well, is that all our lessons are recorded. So pretty much once you start the lesson, anything you interact on the screen will show up on the lesson itself. So let's say if you're online and decide you want to spend 20 minutes on Facebook, it's going to be too, transparent that you're not really involved in the lesson itself. But it's good because you can actually review your own lessons, because you've got the ability to play back. So then you can exactly go back and run through the playback of the lesson whilst taking note of the QAs, the quality assurance team, and then seeing exactly where you went wrong, how you can improve. So I think that aspect is very good and beneficial to all teachers who can, just keep an eye on themselves and make sure that, how they can improve in which areas and whatnot.
I think people are, especially at Wales, people are scared of like the assessments because, sometimes they can choose your worst class, and it could literally I don't know, if you get a bad, report, you can be put on you can be put on watch for 2 weeks. So it's kind of like people are scared of that, but you just got to it's pretty strict over there. So it sounds nice that it's going to happen once a month, and you can learn from that. So it's not like getting assessed every 3 months, where there's a bit more consistency there. So that's nice. So the big question is, people love to talk about pay when it comes to online teaching. What is it like comparable to, what's it like? Do they pay in US dollars? Do they pay to PayPal or to your bank account? What's the go there?
Well, the pay is in US dollars, and they pay, from what I gathered, I think everyone is either using whether it's a Revolut or a Payoneer or PayPal. Although I'm not sure that they actually do PayPal. TransferWise is, I think, a majority one. Bank accounts direct. So it's across the board of different bank accounts. I'm not sure on PayPal actually, but all the other ones that have a card, I think, fixed to it, is pretty much easy goings, and the pay comes in it's very smoothly. It's on time. It's as pretty much all other companies in and around on the 10th of the month. There's a bonus. They always add in a bonus, which is $1 per class.
Do you have like a person or a group that you can get in contact with?
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone is using it. We're using Ding Talk.
Ding Talk, yeah, classic.
I've had to get accustomed to it, which I can say I'm very proficient in now, which I'm happy that I can actually use it. And that is our pretty much go-to for the time being. We've got different groups. One is for signing in and out every day. So you need to sign in every day at least 30 minutes before your lessons, just so you're ready, and that they can keep on tabs if they need subs or whatnot.
Nice.
We have one for exchanging materials and just keeping on top of the whole teaching structure, and the third one is for just class problems and making sure that if students or teachers are having problems with the application or the program or connectivity issues, that the teams can manage it in the best possible way.
That's pretty good. Seems like there's plenty of support then.
Yeah. I mean, given that it's, I think even the app runs off other servers. At least it doesn't really. Sometimes it doesn't really, in the best way, show your own internet speed, because I think it runs through foreign servers. So it does help to have someone on hand that can help you out with connectivity issues, because if you have a student that's in class that you can't hear or see, and you really want that student to kind of be participating, then it does help if someone else can kind of help out.
And to wrap it up, why should someone who's looking for an online job consider First Leap?
Well, it's a company that offers a lot of flexibility, depending on how much time and commitment you want to make to it. Semesters last for 3 months. So one of the main regulations is that you maintain the commitment you've set out for the duration of 3 months.
It's a good point, actually.
Which is I guess it's a short period within itself, so it's not that hard to maintain. But it offers that flexibility. For example, if you want to work the full schedule, you can do it. You'll have a lot of classes. If you want to work half that, you've got that as well. The kids are amazing. From my experience, I've had the same students only once per week. So you get them every week. You're going to see the same students once. And it offers that kind of, let's say, it lets you create a bond with your students, and you can kind of prepare even better for the lesson. You can build up onto the next lesson what you're going to show them. So it allows you to create a good bond. And the pay, like I said, the pay is very good and satisfying. The support structure is there, and it's just an overall great company where it's one of the best things that I like about it is, compared to the other ones, it starts an hour earlier. So it starts at 5 p.m. Beijing time.
That's quite nice.
Which is a great change. And what else was I gonna say? It's and there's no feedback at the end. So I mean, that just that saves you automatically at least an hour off every day. So right now we're going through a hiring process. So anyone that wants to apply, I think now is a great time to do so.
And I'm going to leave your referral link in the description. Thanks so much for joining me today. It was great.
Thank you, Oli.